People who have been to high school 10-year reunions, what were some surprises shocks for you? The mom of a friend of mine met a woman called Anna at a reunion. She wasn't sure who she was. Apparently they had been pretty good friends back then. Her name was David back then though. I'm excited for my all-girls high school reunion next year so I can meet Alistair. I only ever knew him as Ashley. Not my high school reunion, but my dad's. A couple years after my parents got divorced, my dad goes to his high school reunion and runs into his prom date. They catch up. She'd been the one that got away and all. And it turns out she's also recently divorced from husband number 2. Some things don't work out like you wish they would. You know? They agree to meet for drinks and dinner again soon. And they do. And then more dating. And then next thing I know I'm spending every other weekend driving with my dad across the state to hang out with her. But it's not bad. She's friendlier than the other girls he tried dating. And she's getting my dad to be more relaxed and not drink as much. I leave for college and they get married. He and his bandmates decide to get the band back together for a reunion tour at the next class reunion. The following summer reunion. The band show was a hit. It was like seeing my dad as a teenager. They caused trouble all weekend, lighting off fireworks and drinking, and my grandma covered for them. No officer. Haven't heard anything. Just playing solitaire on my computer. They played all night long and decided it's going to be a yearly thing. So many of their old classmates stayed in the area and they love playing and hanging out. My dad got the girl. Got the band back together. And got his life back in line thanks to a couple class reunions. It wasn't a 10-year reunion. Mind you. Sometimes you'll have to wait a little bit longer to get the happy ending you're hoping for. I was the biggest loser in high school but was the coolest methodica at the reunion. Also the jocks who bullied me were janitors at the event. Also that popular cheerleader became fat and ugly. I had a very interesting and unexpected experience at my 10-year reunion. To start, I was a little metal goth kid that went to high school in the Midwest with the best football team in the state. You can accurately assume what I thought of my overall high school experience from that. When the 10-year reunion came around, I was very hesitant to go. I knew that none of my good friends would be there. And it would just be filled with the people I thought I loathed a decade prior. So what was the point? But for some reason I went anyway. And it was absolutely wonderful. At no other point in your life can you walk into a huge bustling room and instantly recognize the faces of hundreds of people all at once. These are people that, like it or not, you grew up with and around. And seeing them again for the first time in a decade hits you like a wave of nostalgia. Memories of my youth came rushing back that I had completely forgotten about. And I felt a strange sense of being home again. For better or worse. It felt safe and peaceful. I had maybe one good friend show up. And I didn't necessarily connect with anybody else that was there. But I still loved seeing them all. I also completely unanticipated how many people I had forgotten about. When you think about attending your HS reunion, you think of all the very animated characters in your history, the popular jock, the bully, the troublemaker, etc. What you forget about are all the quiet people in between. And how many of them you actually liked. People you might have had only one class with. Or acquaintances you sat next to at lunch every now and then. I liked a lot more people than I remembered. These were the people that filled in the missing pieces. And added context to my history. Somehow this completely unexpected group ended up being the most special part of the reunion for me. So if you're debating going to your reunion, I'd highly suggest it for the time traveling sensation alone. Full stop. There was a discussion brought up about how you don't remember the nice things done to you in high school. But those mean, disgusting things comments haunt you forever. One of the popular girls said, "I'm glad I never made anyone mad in school. I was friends with everyone." One of the most quiet, shy girls from school slams her drink and then pounds the glass on the table as loud as it. "Are you ducking kidding me? ? You were the single most evil cunt in the entire school. You tortured me every single day with your snide comments about my looks and style. I've hated you every day since. The popular girl looked around the room like, who's this itch talking to every single person there, started sharing horror stories about the popular girl. She left in tears. Since Facebook. High school reunions are stupid. I went to mine and I was all like, Corey, what have you been up to since you pushed up 225 4 times at the gym last night? Beast mode? That's really impressive. Corey. My surprise was not being invited, but seeing pictures from the event on a friend's Facebook. Nothing like being reminded of how easily you are forgotten. This made me really sad. Not me. And not 10 years. But my dad went to his 30-year high school reunion. A woman he had had a one-night stand with right after graduation approached. Oh, hey. Remember me? Him. Oh. Yeah? How's it going? Oh, but we have a 29-year-old daughter. I have her phone number if you want to call her. They had slept together right after graduation. He then moved away. She got pregnant. Put the girl up for adoption and never told him. The daughter had just found her birth mother right before the reunion. So she figured that was as good a time as any to let him know. She brought a photo album of her growing up and gave it to my dad. The girl looked exactly like my dad when she was a teenager. And exactly like my dad's sister as an adult. So there was no question it was his kid. His next question, oh my god. Am I a grandfather? Oh, no. She's a lesbian. Him. Oh thank god. Probably the only time you'll hear that response to finding out their kid is gay. It was hard on my family at first. It all happened before my mom and dad had met. But it was still difficult coming to terms with it. We decided to meet her and see what was up. She is awesome. Like really one of the coolest people I know. Great sense of humor. She is now a part of our family. TLDR. Dad finds out about a daughter at a reunion. Everything goes better than expected. Nothing. Facebook exists. And if you aren't the type of person to be Facebook friends with people from your graduating class, then you aren't the type of person to go to a 10-year reunion. Also at reunions, remember that I used to have a crush on you really means I would duck you right now. Though you gotta be careful with this, there's a good chance that if they still have a big crush on you, they definitely want more than just a good duck session. Stage 4 clingers love high school reunions. How busted some people looked at 28. Getting fat isn't a surprise. Neither is going bald or coming out of the closet. But I was amazed at how many people looked like they had a lot of hard miles on them. Yeah, it hasn't quite been 10 years out of high school for me yet. But I ran into an old friend during the holidays and he was missing teeth and I guess he never stopped drinking and fighting. That they were going to charge $60 per person to go. We were all set to go with an old friend. Met at his house when we found that out. That was $120 for my wife and I. We decided to stay at his house and get drunk instead. I never liked those people anyway. That about 90% of those people had not changed. They wore the same clothes for 10 years. This really popular guy actually turned out to be gay. His boyfriend was pretty cool and gave me some advice of how to make some money making adult entertainment. Me and my friend said why not. Comical hijinks ensued. Cue romantic epiphany. Now we're happily together. My brother went to high school with someone who eventually became a Major League Baseball player. He told me that this guy was a douche in high school. And then at the 10-year he flew in by helicopter to show off. It sucks when you realize how many people from your graduating class are now deceased. Where the duck do you people live? It's only a 10-year reunion. I didn't recognize anybody. I thought I must be in the wrong place. But my name was on the list. I thought I recognized a few names. But wasn't 100% sure. There was some donuts and coffee there. And I helped bring the DJ a glass of water. I went from someone in HS who felt he always had to hide, afraid I'd be embarrassed or made fun of, to someone in my adult life who was successful and confident. At my HS reunion I still felt like I didn't belong. Honestly, it was a bit jolting because I felt I had changed so much, but yet it didn't matter a bit. You always think if I could go back and relive those days. But my conclusions was that I'd still hate HS and the mentality of kids that age. Went to my reunion even though I dropped out 2 years before graduation. Not exactly sure why I went since I had only kept in contact with one person after I left. I figured I was a nobody that wasn't noticed in HS. I wasn't a loser nor a popular kid. I was just a face in the crowd. That's what I thought. Anyway, almost everyone recognized me. To my own surprise, I recognized and remembered the names of most of them as well. I even got complimented for being the friendliest person they remember. That's coming from all the cliques that existed in HS. Skaters, jocks, goths, nerds, etc. Apparently, I talked to anyone and everyone, and didn't care who they associated with. All in all, a good experience, and I walked away with a few new friends. These guys who showed up who used to be total freaks, and this girl who used to have this messed up back and a back brace who was kind of a rich too. We used to call her the aluminum monster. Got really drunk and did this weird dance in front of everyone with some old guy. It was weird. Funny story. At my 10-year reunion I was talking with a group of people. Well, mostly just listening because I'm shy. We got on the topic of old boyfriends and who dated whom in high school. Well, there was this douche sitting there saying really mean things about his high school girlfriend, who is a good friend of mine. I spoke up saying, "Don't you remember? We used to date. You were really mean to me. etc. We didn't date. I have better taste." He got really flustered and tried to backpedal and apologizing. All the while his current girlfriend is shooting daggers out of her eyes. Finally I was like, "Dude, I'm just ducking with you. You didn't even talk to me in high school." He left shortly after that. I work for a company that puts together high school reunions and have worked at over 50 of them in my time there. 10-year, high school all over again. You can tell who was popular. And you can see most people fall back into their cliques. There is always someone who knows no one and feels awkward trying to find someone to talk to. 20-year, people have kids. It's mostly popular kids now and ones that were really involved in school activities meeting their old friends. There's less people awkwardly walking around alone. 30-year, it's whittled down to popular kids and student government kids now. Women desperately trying to reclaim their youth and show how young they still look. If you didn't know everyone was in the same age range, you would think there was a 20-year range of ages. 40-year, some of the ladies try to age gracefully and still look good, while others just try to look as young as possible. Men showing off new younger wives. And talking about all the people who have died. Still student government and popular people. 50-year, less of an attempt at reclaiming youth. A lot of talking about who has died and grandchildren.